PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
This program is supported by Red Juice. Bago ang lahat, cleansing muna. Red Juice muna.
Welcome to Open for Business. Mapapanood nyo rin ang programang OFB sa Facebook at YouTube. Mag-like at mag-subscribe sa aming social media at Net25 TV. I am Cesar Vallejos. Welcome to Open for Business. Samahan ninyo kaming tuklasin ng iba't ibang pamamaraan kung paano mapapaunlad ang inyong negosyo. Aalamin din natin mula sa mga eksperto ang mga pangunahing trends at mga estratehiya kung paano natin mapapanatiling ang inyong negosyo, maliit man o malaki, ay maging laging open for business. Ang Omicron variant ay isa na ngayong malaking banta sa 2022. Ang kamakailang pagtaas ng mga kaso na dulot ng variant na ito ay maaaring magkaroon ng negatibong epekto sa paglago ng ekonomiya sa unang quarter ng taon. Dagdag pa rito, ang pananalasa na dulot ng Bagyong Odette ay nagdulot din ng pinsala sa ekonomiya ng bansa, which is already struggling from the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite the onslaught of Typhoon Odette and the growing pandemic, 93% of Filipinos are still optimistic on 2022, and that's according to the latest SWS poll. And as the May elections are nearing, the business sector is concerned about where the Philippine economy will go with the candidates receiving a majority on May 9. But how can entrepreneurs ensure their company's long-term viability despite the current situations? What innovations are required for each company's long-term success during these times? In this episode, we'll tackle those questions with our guest, Mr. George Barcelon, President of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. All these, this episode, Open for Business. Welcome back to Open for Business. Today we have Mr. George Barcelon, President of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Magandang araw po, Sir George.
Good morning, Cesar, and also to the televiewers.
Congratulations, Sir George, on being re-elected as President of PCCI. And that is my first question po. Are you optimistic that the transition to your leadership will be easy, or are you also expecting some challenges ahead from Sir George?
We have been around for many years, and over the years we've been led by a number of good leaders steadfastly, and we do have an illustrious history wherein we, in our own way, try to represent the private sector, especially our constituents, the micro, small, and medium companies. In the past year, when we encountered this COVID-19, this pandemic, we have been in the forefront as far as extending assistance and also advising the government the needs of the MSMEs. We know sometimes the government would come across with a broad brushstroke kung ano mga regulation nila, and we remind the government that you have to consult the private sectors because we have visibility on the ground. At saka yung organization namin will spread throughout the Philippines. We never adhere to yung broad brushstroke na lockdown policy. And yung the government realized also through collaboration with the private sector that the only way to help mitigate is really balance it life and livelihood. No? Kaya ang local government must be involved in the sense that yung approach natin ngayon is granularity. Simply put is that they listen to people on the ground and they can see yung mga kung okay ba yung talagang serious ba yung infection. Kami rin mga negosyante, we're not saying that hindi kami concerned sa itong COVID pandemic. We're just as concerned, not only our employees, overall we're together in one ship. So we are concerned, we're just not concerned, but we take caution as far as following the protocols. As a matter of fact, ang private sector, marami na katulad yung company namin at mga company ng kaibigan ko, we give out free immunity booster. Yung mga vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. Because noon, yung last year, you remember, wala pa yung bakuna. Okay? Right. At saka wala pa naman gamot. Of course, meron mga proponent for ivermectin. We were able to really extend these palliatives that for those who are willing to take it. Okay? Yung mga vitamins, we give it. Yung also prophylaxis. No? But on the whole, the private sector, the business sector, has been very supportive and they've been very caring for the workers. Karamihan ng mga kumpanya, aside from the mga regular sick leave, vacation leave, many companies extended yung sariling COVID leave. So when an employee tells you, sir, nalaknat ako, parang baka may COVID ako. So what do? We tell them, don't report to work. Okay. Pero for them not to report to work, malaking bagay yun. Ano ang policy natin, no work, no pay. Di ba?
Yes.
So we realize that it's an honor system. We believe them if they say they're not feeling well. So we extend that leave. No? Kaya parang nadoblehan yung leave namin. But it's something that ano mga tayong Pinoy, it really across the whole society, ang napansin ko, it's really, really uplifting, no? Yung bayanihan spirit.
Ano po yung outlook niyo, sir, for this 2022? Marami po yung nag-release na po yung outlook ng ang Asian Development Bank, and they're saying we may hit 5.1% and 6% in 2022. Also, with the World Bank naman, the Philippine economy is forecast to grow 5.3 this year before accelerating to 5.9. Sa inyo po, sir, ano ang nakikita?
I'm not an economist, no, but I have a ground feel for this year. Cesar, alam natin na this is a national election for our country. Based on past history, an election of this nature, you would have a lot of campaign money being circulated. Okay. So, malaki din ng tulong yun eh. You know, it helps oil the economy, no? Okay? It helps oil the economy.
Historically, talagang pag may election, talagang tumataas lahat at naging bumubuhay sa ekonomiya.
Oo nga. Eh, ako naman, when you ask me, I have, you know, being a businessman, I tell people, I said, pag negosyante ka, chances are, you are an optimist. You think for the best or better. Pag hindi ka optimist, I don't think you'll be a businessman. If you think of the downside, no? Kaya sabi ko, pag negosyante ka, you're an optimist. But considering what we are seeing, no? Itong COVID-19 hindi naman gusto natin. It just all of a sudden flared up. Ngayon, umabot ng 30,000 bawat araw, di ba? But I said, I still feel that I have this guarded optimism. By the fact that, what we're hearing from outside, no? Different countries, it may be anecdotal, katulad South Africa, lately UK, bumaba na yung hospitalization nila. Okay? So this is something that, as we were talking earlier, Cesar, yung maraming nahawa, but the severity is much less. Okay? Sa kumpanya namin, ang average lumalabas mga 4 to 5 days. Okay? They feel better. But we still tell them to stay. We still tell them to stay the whole 10 days. Okay? And
yung sir, nadodoble yung leave.
Oh. But
Pero is this something that you think is also experienced by the other companies?
Yes. I've been asking people to share, no? Well, maybe maybe it so happened I ask people who are just as optimistic as I am. but overall, yung na-experience nila na nobody went to a hospital. Kaya for me, that's a positive sign. But although let me clarify that point. No? May report naman dito sa atin, lalo na dito sa NCR, no? Sa mga syudad. Some of the hospitals are reporting a very high occupancy. Okay? So it will take some time for us to see. The first week of January, napamiting kami with Secretary Mon Lopez of DTI because we want to share our thoughts because he sits on the board of IA. Yeah. Ang discussion namin is that itong tawag natin before, no, yung flattening of the curve. Ibig sabihin, yung mga hospital, healthcare center, hindi na overwhelmed. Okay? So, yan ang narratives namin. Sabi ko, sir, habang hindi pa na-overwhelm, and then we also practice all of this protocol. Okay? Because yung last 2 months, bumaba yung alert level 2 natin. And there were people that were called back to work. Yung data natin for last quarter, unemployment, bumaba. Primarily because there was more economic activities. You go to the mall, you go to the restaurant, there are more. So, but can you imagine, because what you're seeing, on these services, that's the top. You should realize that a multiplying factor is the supply chain. So those are the things I said I want to impress on them, that we have to treat this carefully, no? not to have a lockdown again. If it necessitates a lockdown, then by all means, no, the private sector has been very cooperative, no. I really pray that the government will be able to ramp up the healthcare, no.
Which is
Healthcare.
my question, Sir George.
Yes.
Because of course your stance on the lockdowns and the granular system is also very critical, because whatever the business sector's input to the Philippine government has to be considered as well. Are you saying po that the PCCI, being the voice of Philippine business, is against this lockdowns po?
The conditionality of the lockdown must be there. When I say conditionalities, na ibig sabihin, what we're doing is really for the benefit of the majority. Okay, halimbawa, talagang itong infection grabe, marami nakasakit. And if that is what we see, and locking down would benefit the majority para hindi ma-overwhelm ang hospital at saka yung mortality rate natin na mataas. Okay? So we have to balance this with science, no? At saka we have to balance this with the economic side. As I said, it's not a broad brush stroke na sige lockdown tayo. Okay? When we say lockdown, sometimes we will agree na granularity, because we feel that area is let's say is getting out of hand. Di nila makontrol yung infection, marami nakasakit. So we consult and if the government and private sector sees that is the best action to take within a certain time, we accede.
Now, Sir George, you mentioned earlier that it's really the Philippine elections that would also contribute to the better performance of the Philippine economy. In your view, who is that candidate that you think can really lead us to be more resilient with this pandemic?
That's a question that I've been asked many times. No? Yung November, meron kaming Philippine Business Conference. Annually, meron kaming business conference. And then, due to the COVID-19, hindi pwede yung on-premise. So, ang ginawa namin, we have a set of questions that we present to the presidential candidates. So they present their take via Zoom video.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if you were to ask me, when you do something like that, usually parang ang sagot nila, parang, I don't know whether that's the right description, parang dekahon, I mean, you talk about small business, talk about the infrastructure. Just earlier you were saying, alam mo, itong mga Wi-Fi natin talagang di maasahan. And those are the things that has been there and ongoing. Okay, but it's being dealt with. No? Even with the present administration, tuloy pa naman ang mga build eh. Okay, life doesn't stop because there's an election. We continue doing what is needed of us to keep the economy afloat, to provide jobs, di ba? So, but in answer to your question, what we're looking for sometimes, it's not only the presidential aspirants. Running a government is quite complicated. Ang dami mga key departments. Okay, like agriculture is one. Okay, infrastructure continues to be it. Okay, ease of doing business. Okay, making available funds for the MSMEs. How to make us attractive, for foreign investments. Okay. So why am I saying that? What we're looking for is really who are the people that would be gravitating to some of these candidates. Na these are people na may track record dito sa industry or being a former government official, na parang may proven track record. Because they are the lieutenants. They are the one that would make things happen. Hindi naman yung presidente lang eh. Of course, the president must have this goal and this vision. But to carry out those vision, you need good lieutenants, no? Or generals. I'll put it general na lang. Okay? And they are the one who would craft the program like any government, or if I compare to a company. You want to do many things, really, no? But you have to look back and look at yourself una. Yung resources mo. Topmost is human resource. Pangalawa, financial resources. Di ba? So this is what, in a way, at this point in time, supposed to be ang election official campaign is February. February 7. The way I get exposed to YouTube, to Viber blog, I thought the campaign started since October.
or even earlier, Sir George.
Even earlier, di ba? Kaya sabi ko, ako, mahirapan yung COMELEC to check on the campaign spending, di ba? Okay?
You mentioned earlier na ang mga sagot nila sa mga tanong ng PCCI, di kahon. Pero sino sa kanila, Sir George, ang medyo wala sa kahon? You know, when you think of ideas that are out of the... Kasi alam naman natin na pagkikwentuhan natin, kahit po kami sa mga karaniwang mamamayan, pag dumarating daw ang panahon ng election, Sir George, lumalabas lahat ng solusyon sa lahat ng mga problema ng Pilipino.
Tama ka dyan.
lahat ng mga mabubuting bagay para sa Pilipinas lumalabas at nagiging political analyst lahat ng mga Pilipino. So, ngayon, Sir George, sa kanilang lahat, frontrunners, lalo na po yung mga lumalabas sa survey, sino sa kanila po ang nakikita ninyo na medyo may pagka-out of the box po, na hindi dekahon ng mga sagot?
Cesar, they are quite, of course, they have their consultants. No? So they're quite aware of what are the issues that confronts us. Okay. Every year, yung sa business conference namin, we come out with the resolutions. Yung parang a listing of what should be addressed. Okay. And we share this openly. Okay. And most politicians, they know. Every one of them touch on job creation. Okay. And that's very important. And when we talk about job creation, it has a direct bearing on our education. So, in agriculture, food safety, food security, these are all mentioned. And I don't expect them, or whoever is the president, to know everything. It's really the general that, when I say general, I'm not referring to military. Of course, alam natin that this administration, maraming general.
So siguro po, para mas maintindihan ng mga nanonood sa atin, yung let's focus on the team, on the cabinet, maybe.
On the cabinet team. Okay. So that's why we said, okay, these are the key areas that we know the country is facing. The detail of their, how to deal with these issues will come later from the team that we talk about. No?
With the present candidates now, with the front runners po, has there been also a study of PCCI on who do you think will compose the cabinet teams of this, and do you also somehow reach out to these teams for you to make sure that if I were a member of PCCI, of course, sabi nga nila, ang interest ng mga negosyante din dapat pangunahin kung isulong, tama po. So, tinitingnan nyo rin po ba yung mga composition ng teams nila sa ngayon pa lang?
Sa ngayon, wala pa, honestly, no? Because it's too early. People ask me, do you contribute? Are you contributing? I said, yes, we're contributing a lot. Sabi na, oh, talaga? Makano? Sabi ko, no. It's not money. It's suggestion. Sabi ko, we're contributing a lot of suggestions. If they come to us and they want some feedback, we share it with them. Okay? That's the most we can do. Okay?
Pero sir, yung mga, pag humihingi sila ng suggestions sa inyo, yung mga politicians na ito, anong aspeto normally ang hinihingi po nila sa inyo?
Hindi, katulad meron kaming agricultural committee. Meron kaming power utilities, power and water. Like yesterday, we had a forum. I invited Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. Alam mo, meron tayong, at this point in time, it's quite critical. Itong first 2 week of January, we were on alert yellow already.
Which means?
Of course, this is not publicized. It's not publicized.
No,
which means critical. Okay, and any one of the major power generation plant, no? If it requires some maintenance, talagang kakapusin tayo ng kuryente, makaroon ng brownout.
At hindi ito pinag-uusapan nga, sir.
Hindi nga eh. Kaya si Senator Win Gatchalian and one of our members who is tasked to do this, yung issue na yan, no? was discussed, and marami mga stakeholders, they were quite surprised na ganito pala ka-critical yung power natin. Well, this is an offshoot because Indonesia, January, they impose na they will not export coal. Okay? They will not export coal. Ang energy source natin, 90% of our coal comes from Indonesia. Malaking bagay yun, di ba? So that's why it's quite a important issue that must be addressed. Okay? Now, going back to your question, no? Hearing from them, no? I mean, hearing from their answers, they touch all the key points naman. If you were to ask me, I would say, hearing from them, if you ask me, then we would come up with a survey. You can see that the gap is not very far. If you were to tell me the top 4, for example, no, 4, okay, I would say, the top 2 would probably garner about 2/3, 66%. Okay, and then the rest of the 3 share sila sa 1/3. Okay, yung broad numbers, no? Broad numbers. So, moving forward, there would be a play. Okay, there will be a play. But the first 2, since they're occupying 2/3, from the survey, that's where you can see, no? You can see that who is in the running.
Speaking of that, Sir George, assuming, of course, the final survey would be the election day itself.
Yes.
As we speak now, it's PBM Sara who's leading. What will the Philippine business benefit if we have a BBM Sara administration?
Whoever gets elected, no, whoever leads the new administration, we in the private sector, we support that. Okay, we support them. And we would like to believe that over the years with so many administrations, we have been given a voice. Okay. And if you were to ask me, of course, I may be biased, no? I want them to listen more to PCCI. And because we have the ground roots, visibility, and we do care for our constituents, no? We have, and the other side of it is that we find that there's a lot of upside, okay, for us. Demographically, we're located, no, where we can extend our reach to ASEAN. Ang laki ng ASEAN eh. And then ASEAN plus China. You're talking about almost 2 billion. Ang ASEAN almost 700 million eh. Ang China 1.4 eh. Ito lang dalawa 2 billion na eh. We are set right here in a very nice location. Pangalawa, yung ano natin, yung sa population profile. Ang average age natin mababa, 25. That's why itong mga human resources natin, you have really to train them, to educate them. And that's one of the areas that we've been pushing for. Gusto natin yung mga yung halimbawa, merong foreign direct investment. We would like foreign investment that comes in.
Speaking of foreign investment, total, natanong nyo na rin naman po, nabanggit nyo na, yun pong bagong batas, yung pag-amyenda doon sa retail. So ano po ang masasabi ninyo doon? At how will that impact to small businesses?
Yung issue na yan has been an issue that we are concerned initially because yung unang draft o yung proponent gusto nila ibaba hanggang 200,000 for the entry. We felt it's too low. Ano ba yung 200,000 na from a foreign company mag-set up ng retail, no? For them that's micro na yan. Diba? Sa pera nila. Okay? So we objected. We are open. We're not having our eyes closed, no, about this retail trade liberalization. But you have to make it fair to the local players, to the MSMEs. So we were opting for $1 million. Whoever comes in, kailangan $1 million. Okay? That's about 50 million. Finally, lower house and the upper chamber, nag-compromise sila. They compromise. So the law now is 25 million threshold. You want to come in, you have to invest 25 million. So that's $500,000 US. That's is more reasonable. Okay. And then if you want to set up, more shops, every shop must be 10 million. 200,000. So having said that, I think those companies who would want to invest in the Philippines with that amount, they will bring in some know-how. Okay? They will bring in some special services. Because the retail is very competitive here. Unless you have a niche, no? Nobody would just come in na they're doing the same thing, they're selling the same services. Wala. You've got to have your niche. And when you say you have to be niche, you got to be of a certain size. So that is why, when that came out, I was asked, I said, that's a fair, because if they come in, there will be more jobs open.
Sa palagay nyo ngayon, Sir George, mas mababalanse na. So, mas maraming foreign investors coming in. Pero, do you think hindi naman po ito walang drawback pagdating sa local retailers? Hindi ba sila malalong papagsak naman, mawawalan ng oportunidad?
You look at the malls, okay? You look at the malls. Meron yung mga malaki na brand. Uniqlo, ano, no? But if you notice, maraming niche market din eh. Maraming foreign brand eh, di ba? And they have been thriving. They've been doing well. Di ba? Kaya, ang merkado is very wide. Okay? Those guys will not be going to Divisoria to compete. They have no way of competing. Yung mga maliliit, you want to compete with those guys? Sige, go ahead. Invest ka ng 25 million. In a year or two, ubos yung pera mo. The playbook has changed. And I think some of this that will come in, they will also take advantage of the digital platform. Okay? The e-commerce. Okay? They will use that. So that would mean technology. Okay? Iba yung labanan sa e-commerce eh. You got to have people, you got to have creative people. How you advertise your product.
Yes.
Iba yung nasa Divisoria ka, ang kailangan isang tindera di ba? Kaya we have to be ready. We have to be ready for this. Okay? Sometimes takot tayo because here they're coming in, but they will come in with a different playbook.
Yes. Sir George, balikan ko lang yung sinabi mo kanina. Natanong ko, yan, may mga runners tayo pagdating sa survey. And sinabi mo, whoever wins, they should listen to PCCI. Let's assume, Sir George, na I am that front runner. Kunyari ako si BBM, halimbawa, lumapit ako sa iyo. What are those top 5 priorities that you think the new president should address?
Power is one. In the immediate scenario, the healthcare is very important. The education. What happened to us for the last 2 years? Talagang lalo na marginalize yung mga lower echelon sa yung mga taong bayan. Okay. They hardly could learn anything through this online. I play golf, yung mga kaddi ko, they ask me for more support kasi yung mga anak nila, you know how they study? Sa cellphone. You ask yourself, sometimes we don't see at that level eh. Kaya halos itong 2 years, wala. Wipe up. So those are the issues I mentioned, no? Power, education, and also agri. When I say broad term infra, ano na yan? That's ongoing. It's not that it's not being done, no? But they still can do better. We just go back to the broadband, yan. You're talking about a digital platform now. Kung kulilat yung broadband natin, you go out of certain areas, wala na eh. Ako nga dito ako sa San Juan, somebody calls me, I have to say, excuse me, sabi na, bakit? Labas ko muna sa garahe ko. Para to get the signal. So those are the key areas that I think on top of mind. Okay.
Pero maganda, Sir George, yung sinabi niya kasi na, sige, kahit yun ang sabihin ng front runner, pero it is the team, behind him, that will make that difference. Sabi nga din po nila, di ba, lahat ng mga politiko or lahat ng administrasyon may isang businessman or Chinese na or sino mang personalidad na nakasuporta sa kanya. Sa mga presidentiables halimbawa, in finding the perfect team to run government, what should be considered? Saan nila kukunin yung team na yun, Sir George?
It depends on the leadership, no, who wins. Ang mga Pinoy, we're not lacking in ability. Honestly. Ang dami mga Pilipino, they hold key positions abroad in multinational companies. Okay? Meron mga sa software company, marami rin. So I don't think there's a lack of talent or capabilities. Okay? And that's why I said it really requires a leader that has the vision, that can really project that unity na, we need to work hard and we need to get qualified, competent people. And if they show good leadership, I think a lot of Filipinos, younger, no, not as old as I am, younger, will be willing to come and serve the government. We have seen in the local government, no, in the cities. You have seen some of the cities now. Ang mga mayor, mga bata eh. Mm-hmm. And you can see na they make a difference. Diba? They make a difference. And I would like to think that whoever leads the government would be able to source, competent, with integrity, to join the government.
What are the, corporate strategies that you think should be applied by the government We know that working in the corporate world is definitely, different from running a government. But, di ba, parang they say the president is also the CEO of a big organization. Sa palagay niyo po ba, assuming that president is the CEO, ano yung qualities dapat ng ating presidente na dapat i-apply niya kung siya ay isang CEO ng kumpanya?
Since you compare it to a CEO of the company, no? You want to expand your market, not only local market, but export market. Okay? Because by having, we were talking about how big the market in our region, di ba? And there are things that are unique Filipino products that we can export. So export sector must be promoted. We must give really support for companies in certain field to go and promote, to join conferences. Alam natin last 2 years wala kasi of COVID-19. But down the line, because when we compare other countries like Thailand, Vietnam, and lately Indonesia, mas sila, talagang mas yung mga exporters nila supported sa funding, sa mga trade shows, you can see some of their display, no? Yung mga maganda, I mean, because they spend money. So we can do that as well.
But when you talk of exports, Sir George, anong mga produkto po yung ang nakikita ninyo na dapat pa nating expand as far as exports? At ito na naman, dahil sa pandemic, apektado na naman yung supply chain. So exports, logistics, supply chain, paano ito?
That is in the meantime, those are some of the constraints, no? But there are so many high-value items that we can export. Okay. I'm not saying that's why I said that goes hand in hand with the kind of training, upskilling that we can give. Ayaw naman natin, hindi naman ayaw, but it's better to attract higher-paying job that match the skill set.
Yes.
Okay? Then hire somebody, kasi mura mababa yung sahod nila That's not going to work for us. Because other countries later on, papasok ng Africa, akala mo mura ka, mas mura sila sa sahod. So it's important for us, what's important is really have that vision of upgrading, upskilling our people, educate them. So you're talking about products that could be related to the fourth IR, the fourth industrial revolution. It will take some time. I'm not saying we talk about it will happen. But you got to chart the course muna.
May mga pagkakataon po ba na ang PCCI noon ay hindi in agreement po sa administration? Was there a conflict between PCCI and also the administration where it created adverse impact also to small businesses? And if there are issues like that in the future, how do you think you can resolve that?
I tell you, it's like anything else. We do it through dialogue. Okay, we will find a common ground. Okay? Unless the issue at hand is that, let's say, it's too high-handed, no? Na wala sa ibig sabihin ng ginawa ng government unilaterally. Na hindi nila na binigyan ng pansin sa taong bayan. Okay, of course we will object. We will say, what are you doing? I mean, if you want stagnation of the economy, it's going to be even worse. It will lead to social problem, of which cannot afford. But generally speaking, I think in the last administration, I'm sure you have heard of this Sulong Pilipinas. Sulong Pilipinas is a program launched by the economic team, headed by Secretary Sani Dominguez. Okay? We're having another one in March. Okay. Actually, yung unang term ko sa president was the start of the President Duterte's administration, and it so happened I'm re-elected again, ending na. No? But still, our collaboration as co-convener has been, in a way, has taken roots. So we will have another one in March on Sulong Pilipinas. And whatever that it's a review of what has been achieved. It's a review of what was not achieved or underachieved or what went wrong, and you learn it. And we hope that with this Sulong Pilipinas, whatever that we can gain, we will use that as a reference in dealing with the new administration.
Okay, Sir George, reading your background, hearing you speak in various conferences, I've seen that you can predict things to happen. So my question, Sir George, is who will be the next president of the Philippines? What is your prediction?
Your guess is just as good as mine.
That's a great way to end this conversation.
I would like to see that really those who are aspiring really put their heart to it, and somehow the numbers will come out to give the voters a choice. Okay, of course, like anything else, no. If you're watching a basketball game, you don't want to, hindi mo pa nunorin yung kulelat at saka yung champion, malayo. It's not interesting, di ba? Gusto mo yung top ko. Okay? At saka yung abilidad nila, may match. It's like boxing, di ba? Kaya same thing in politics, no. If you were to ask, I would, because it's a choice, eh. Kung may choice between competing, no, and then they would bring out the best. Okay. So that's my parting word to you.
Okay. One final parting words po. Lalo na po ngayon, nakikita po natin ang COVID surge pa rin. Ano po ang maipapayo ninyo sa mga maliliit na negosyante na para patuloy na umasa po na magiging maganda pa rin ang sitwasyon?
As of now, yung mga micro, we're talking to the katulad ng DTI, meron silang SB Corp, yung loan for the small companies. Okay. And we've mentioned this to Secretary Mon Lopez. Okay. And if this becomes more severe, I hope not. No, I'm praying it will not happen. The government might have to dig into their pocket to extend ayuda.
Thank you so much, Sir George. Open for Business will be back. Thank you. That's Mr. George Barcelon, President of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. OFB will be back. Stay with us.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka na mangamba, sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. May lalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa New Era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Buongiorno, signore e signore. I will cook for you. I will add special ingredient. 1/4 cup of
ang iba't ibang gamit ng karate bukod sa self-defense.
Uy! Lulusong kayo sa tubig, isa-isa kayong pupunta dito para punin yung tubig na yan. Sa pamamagitan ng pagpiga na inyong damit, pero hindi nyo humalik.
Perwisyong butas na nasa gitna ng isang kalsada sa barangay Tandansora sa Quezon City, tinapalan. Iba't ibang modus at scam sa online, ibubuking. Ang hiling na ayuda ng isang mangingisdang pintor, nirespondehan. Pilotong naghahatid ng tulong sa panahon ng kalamidad at pandemya, ating kilalanin.
Sabado, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi. Ito ang Responde, Mata ng Mamamayan.
Letters and Music on air and online this coming Saturday, January 15, 1 to 2 p.m. only here on Net 25.
See you guys!
You may be looking for ways to increase your income if you're struggling to make ends meet or if you want to achieve your financial objectives more rapidly. When you are in a financial bind, it is difficult to keep going. But truly, what other choice do you have? At the end of the day, it is all about how you direct your thoughts. Whatever your objective is, you can work toward it by devising new ways to earn more money. Okay, millennials, if you want to boost your income this year, check out these financial improvement ideas. First, analyze your finances. A budget assists you in ensuring that you will have sufficient funds each month. You can run out of money before your next payday if you don't have a budget. You can figure out how much money you make each month, choose a budgeting approach, and track your success. Any budget must account for all of your requirements, some of your wants, and most importantly, emergency and long-term savings. Keep track of your progress and keep track of your spending and usage. Also, as a simple budgeting framework, use the 50-30-20 rule. 50 for your needs, 30 for your wants, and 20 for your savings. Second, master advertising. Nowadays, getting paid to advertise for companies is a terrific way to supplement your income. You might opt to gain money by placing adverts on the internet. Alternatively, perhaps offline advertising is more your style. In either case, this can be a very successful method to supplement your income. The ability to connect with your audience is critical to its success. Third, give your time and how you spend it a higher value. Time is a fascinating notion to contemplate as well as one of the most crucial considerations when it comes to realizing your full potential and making the most of your life. Do you truly know how you spend your time? As there is a concept of wrong money, there must be a concept of wrong time. Make sure you are organizing your time and keeping track of how you are spending it. Then make a plan for how you will spend your time and energy in the future. Begin by keeping track of how much time you spend doing daily activities on a daily basis. Prioritizing time has been linked to increased happiness. You will get nowhere fast if you don't combine positive thought with action, so you must take action. When you are advancing your profession and planning for the future, a little additional cash will almost certainly come in handy. I am Jasmine Agustin for Open for Business.
This week, papakita ko sa inyo ngayon kung paano tayo gagawa ng carrot pumpkin soup, cream of carrot and pumpkin soup, classic Caesar salad, at syempre, ang ating steak, ang prime rib steak. Okay.
Hey guys! Joke lang! Iniwan kita. Sorry. Ay, sobrang sarap. Sorry.
Ayan po.
para gamers for tonight. Sina ang mga pangalawang magulang na gumagabay sa ating mga anak sa paaralan. Nagtitiktok ka? TikTok. Yan ang mga teachers natin ngayon, di ba? Eto na, kamay sa batok. Gladys,
Yes, wait.
sa batok.
Ay!
Ano ang ibig sabihin ng letrang R sa MTRCB? Bakit i-read mo yung pinasa?
Sagana na siya sa love life.
Ito ang Tara Game! Ay, sarap.
Hi, we're Southern Lights.
Please catch us on Letters and Music on air and online
This coming Saturday, January 15, 1 to 2 p.m. Only here on Net 25. See ya!
Open for Business is back, and our business phrase for the week is economic recovery. Economic recovery is the business cycle stage following a recession that is characterized by a sustained period of improving business activity. Normally, during an economic recovery, gross domestic product grows, incomes rise, and unemployment falls as the economy rebounds. Ang muling pag-ahon ng ating ekonomiya ay nangangailangan ng sama-samang pagsisikap ng mga business leaders, politicians at mga kasosyo sa pag-unlad. We must encourage innovation and a culture of innovative technology among young people and businesses, especially MSMEs. With the right policies and programs, we can lay a solid foundation for a better future. And with that, our quote of the week is from the author of Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith. He said, "A nation is not made wealthy by the childish accumulation of shiny metals, but it is enriched by the economic prosperity of its people." Samahan ninyo kaming muli sa Open for Business sa susunod na linggo. Learn more insights from CEOs, thought leaders, industry experts, and SMEs promoting business development here in the Philippines, keeping you informed and open for business, and be ahead of the curve from vision to action. Panoorin din ang programang OFP sa Facebook at YouTube. Mag-like at mag-subscribe sa aming social media, Net25 TV. Para sa Open for Business, ito po si Cesar Vallejos. We live in interesting times.
This program is supported by Red Juice. Mas masarap ang pakiramdam kapag malinis ang kalooban.